For Typhoon Mangkhut, the strongest storm of 2018 and actually one of the strongest of all time. Now, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency, down to 905 hectopascals. Look at this list from Digital Typhoon, ranking the strongest storms in the Western Pacific over the past about 50 years. This puts us up in the rank of Jelawat, which also had 905 HPA. Jangmi back in 2008. Meanwhile, even Napartak back in 2016 had a 900, same as Soldalore as well. And even Haiyan, which had a pressure of 995 hectopascals. Remember that storm back in 2013. So this is up in that ranking with those very dangerous, very potent storms from past. Now, the typically conservative JMA, actually 905, but they do have it intensifying up to a 900 hectopascal in its forecast here as we go ahead over the next several days, staying at that violent intensity. WC, on the other hand, doesn't do pressure. They're not a WMO or a World Meteorological Organization member, but they do have these winds of 140 gusting to 170 knots, and expecting this to even intensify more as it moves into the Philippine Sea, what we call the Philippine Sea effect. Very warm sea surface temperatures out here, low vertical wind shear, moving towards the west along that southern edge of the Bermuda High. So this is going to allow for the storm to maintain and even increase stronger as a Category 5. As far as the track is concerned, before I get into the models, and models set aside, we can just take a look at the general flow of the weather pattern out here, and it looks more and more like this major typhoon is going to be making landfall here in northern Philippines. You have the Westpac High way off here towards the north, really dominating, so this isn't going to recurve back towards Okinawa, and Taiwan being ruled more and more out of the question here. Actually, our system out here just south of Hong Kong, a little tropical storm, helping to pull this further towards the west. Think of tropical systems as water flowing down a stream. You have this mountain back here towards the north, and then you have a little bit of a high pressure towards the south. And this is going to want to go towards the area of least resistance. Well, it's going to follow along the outer edge of that mountain towards the north and pull off here and eventually over there towards Hong Kong, just based on the overall flow here and the pressure pattern. Let's take a look at this track here via the ECMWF model, and this is based on the Meteor app here, which you're looking at. You can download that app on your phone. A great thing to track these storm systems. This is looking ahead here through Wednesday into Thursday. Our storm system maintains that intensity as a Category 5, approaching northeastern Philippines here, specifically around Cagayan out there towards Aurora, just north of there, in fact, around Apari area as a Category 5 storm system. Big thing with this is that we are looking at the threat of storm surge, especially in some of these low-lying areas with those winds wrapping around the Batanes Islands as well being impacted by this. And then you have that moisture flow even wrapping around the western periphery. And yes, for those of you in Manila, you could see even that inflow with some heavy rainfall. But the gusty, damaging winds, which is going to potentially strip forest down here, any weaker structures just completely being demolished. Apari's not stranger to typhoons, but when you get these storms this strong, they really still do cause damage, despite the fact that they do occur here quite often. Take a look at here throughout the day on Friday, heading into Saturday, storm system does scoot on by. I'm just showing you this one model right now because most guidances are showing a very similar output, and then moving off there towards the northwest, heading into Hong Kong as we look ahead into Sunday and even over towards Monday. Still has a fairly in storm system. Now we take a look at the HWRF model. This is the high resolution hurricane model here, initializing pretty well with that 903 HPA. It also has that larger eye after a storm system went through an eye wall replacement cycle. Let's move it ahead over the next few hours here, moving off there towards the west, approaching the Philippines as we go ahead here into Friday. You see northern Luzon right here. That's Apari, actually, right where my cursor is placed. There's that outer band starting to work their way in as we go ahead through Friday afternoon into the evening. This is where those damaging winds very well potentially could be. And then we kick it ahead here just a little bit more by Friday night. We're talking about 3 a.m. right in here based on this model outlook, Philippine time. eye right over Apari, and then moving off there towards the west. Still got those damaging winds even extending further down here towards the south. So even if you're not right in that direct center, you still got those heavy rainfall and, well, basically tropical storm strength winds extending all the way down there, even as far south as Subic Bay, then scooting off there towards the west, and finally improving conditions back across the Philippines as we look ahead into your Saturday evening. Meanwhile, HWRF also does take this once again. Here's Hong Kong Bay right over here towards the west. Still has a 930 hectopascal approaching Hong Kong. Finally, I'll give you a look at the ECMWF total rainfall forecast. Look at some of these rain totals, 20 to 25 inches out here in the northern Philippines. That is just torrential. Meanwhile, even southeastern Taiwan, those mountains always act as just an enhancer and typically increase that threat of rainfall out there. Very serious flooding could take place. What does this all mean to you? Now, anybody in the northern Philippines, northern Luzon, specifically Cagayan, you got to make those preparations now. I know a lot of people don't like to evacuate, but despite that, this is a dangerous storm. We're looking at the winds of 130, 140 knots out there. I mean, that's just intense. I know that you typically get these storms in these areas, but I think the last one I can remember that hit the northeastern Philippines as a Category 5, we have to look back towards Meggy, in fact. That caused some serious damage out there. Sodalora as well came into an area in the northeastern Philippines that was sparsely populated back in 2014. And yeah, just stay safe, guys. Be smart about it. Even as far as south into Manila, you can see some localized flooding as this moves on through. Just be smart, be safe. Stay tuned to Pagasa. They're going to start putting updates out on this pretty soon as well.